He has said you must make sure you pay salaries and pay pensions, but you also make sure that the critical projects of roads, railway, airports, bridges, major infrastructure that are meant to drive the growth of the economy, that we consistently invest in them, even if we have to continue to borrow to do so.
This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
The housing solution we have developed is a multifaceted one. First, we have tried to lead a program to build what we think will be an acceptable and hopefully affordable housing type based on surveys we did in 2015-2016 and construction that started in 2017. And that's going on in 34 states as the National Housing Program.
This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Since coming into office in 2015, the Buhari administration has recorded unprecedented achievements in all sectors, especially in the provision of infrastructure, which is the key to economic growth. Never in the history of this country has any other administration done so much with so little. I recall that when this administration came into office, the price of crude oil
Good evening and welcome to NTA News Top Table, where we give you the news with the extra touch of fine details as we move across the country. Tonight, it is with an eye on road infrastructure, what is smoothly going on schedule and what is encountering bumps on the road to completion. There is also a pronouncement on toll gates from the Federal Executive Council meeting. Still on roads, or shall we say road transportation? How safe are night journeys these days? We have a special on those who are on the road from dusk till dawn. From roads, we will go on water and monitor efforts to make this mode of transportation stay afloat. There is still some presence of human trafficking syndicates, but the hand of the law is getting longer. Find out the details. Also tonight, we have specials on education, security, and health. Sit back and let's set sail. I am Fatima Morbuba, and this is News Extra. I welcome you. Federal road users may have to pay token for the maintenance of highways and building of roads as the Federal Executive Council this Wednesday approved Federal Roads and Bridges tolling policy, and FEC ratified an anticipatory approval on submission of final nationally determined contribution as part of commitment to the 2016 Paris Agreement. State House correspondent Judicial further reports on this and other deliberations at the Council's meeting this Wednesday.
Tolling of some major highways across the country has been on the drawing board for some time now. But today, at the Federal Executive Council meeting, a major step was taken when the minister presented a policy memorandum for the approval of Federal Roads and Bridges tolling policy, and also a regulation that will provide legal framework for the tolling policy. And the minister explains more on this.
Highlights are that we will adopt an open tolling policy as distinct from a closed tolling policy. The difference is that on the open tolling policy, which is what we were used to before, you pay toll at a barrier over a fixed or predetermined distance. The closed toll systems means that you will pay tolls over the distance you travel and the size of your vehicle. We haven't operated that before, so we're going back to what we know. We also approve that consultations must be done, willingness to pay surveys must be done, before specific roads are tolled. We also presented and Council approved that only dual carriageways out of the 35,000 kilometers should be eligible for tolling by the federal government.
The minister says there was broad consultation with stakeholders and they all agreed and made inputs before this was put forward for consideration by the council. Commercial vehicles will pay 150 naira as opposed to other vehicles which are expected to pay from 200 naira upward, depending on the category of the vehicle.
We have proposed and Council has approved that certain types of vehicles be exempted from paying tolls. Those are bicycles, pedal cycles, tricycles, motorcycles, and other modes of 2- or 3-wheeled transport used mainly by disadvantaged members of our community. They will be entitled to a fully 100% exemption.
Money collected will be for the maintenance of the roads and building of new ones. Similar to this is efforts of government on reduction of emissions and impacts of climate change. Minister of Environment Muhammad Mahmood speaks on this.
Minister of Environment presented a memo today seeking for ratification of an anticipatory approval that we received from Mr. President on the submission of our final NDC, that is the nationally determined contribution. This is part of the commitment that Nigeria made in 2016 during the Paris Agreement, that every country after 5 years will revise the commitment the country made in carbon down emission. We have gotten again the approval of the ratification following the anticipatory approval by Mr. President. So Nigeria is currently in good standing as the rest of the countries. About 100 countries have already submitted and Nigeria is one of those. So we're in good standing with the Paris Agreement, the commitment we made. That
approval was also granted for the award of the contract for procurement of 10 sets of 330 kV and 20 sets of 132 kV circuit breaker for the TCN.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo presides over the meeting, with some of the ministers attending physically, while others joined via Zoom. A mini silence was observed by council members in honor of late Malami Buai, a former Minister of Agriculture, who passed on recently. In the State House, Jude Onifade, NTA News.
Any fear entertained about the completion of second Niger Bridge soon has been laid to rest, as government says it will review upwards the cost of completing the bridge. Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola revealed this when he inspected the Anambra end of the project. He gave the assurance that the bridge will be completed and inaugurated by 2022. Joy Iloegbu was with the minister during the inspection.
The construction of a second bridge across the River Niger commenced in September 2018 at the cost of more than 200 billion naira with a completion period of 42 months. The bridge, with a distance of 11.9 kilometers from Onitsha to Asaba, when completed, will help ease traffic on the existing bridge. Inspecting the Anambra section of the project from the Owerri interchange in Onitsha, Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola, after being briefed by the Anambra State Federal Controller, Adeyemo Ajani, said he is impressed with the work done and reassured that the 2022 initial completion date is sacrosanct.
Now work has progressed on the Asaba-bound lane, and so you see behind us, this is nearly completed now. It's just about 75 meters and you have full completion. The road works will continue, finishing works will continue, and sometime in 2022, the entire project will be completed.
It's at 70% completion of the project. So the bridge itself, this bridge, is about 80% completion now.
The minister also visited the federal government secretariat in Awka, the state capital, where work on the project had indeed progressed, as the contractor had amended some architectural designs the minister earlier questioned during his last visit to the site.
I expect that in the shortest foreseeable time we will finish this project.
The over 400 office complex the contractor says will be completed by October this year as soon as funds are released. In Oka, Joy Iluebu, NTA News.
And they say to make an omelette, one must break an egg. Well, Governor Wike must have broken few eggs to have the level of traffic sanity being experienced now along the east-west road. We hear the demolition of illegal structures and ban on trading activities that hitherto obstructed the flow of traffic for the motoring public did the magic. We also hear observers are commending the state government for the action amidst concerns raised by those whose eggs were broken. Kingsley Amajiri tells us more.
Intervention of River State government on the east-west road through the latest demolition of illegal structures and ban on trading activities is receiving commendation from road users. This followed the increasing flow of traffic at locations that were hitherto difficult to navigate.
You know, Port Harcourt is the garden city of Nigeria, so it's bringing the image back to the way it's supposed to be. I love what the governor is doing.
We normally had this traffic jam, hold up, but now it's everywhere. It's moving, going smoothly, freely.
The state government is also doing quite enough through its task force to ensure that traders leave the road to ease of traffic along the east-west road.
Can you imagine the governor of a state can travel and be in a hold-up for more than 2 hours? The River State government says no to it. The thing is being worrisome to Rivers people because of the business they are doing on the road and highway.
Amidst concerns by some of those affected by the government action, some residents called for sacrifice and patience with the government.
But let them help us, because since we are looking for our daily bread here.
Some of the structures demolished to observers had been of concern to the public, given the security and traffic risk they posed in the past.
I'll be very close to road, pushing their market in the course of getting customers. They'll be using to block some part of the road, causing hold up and even sometimes accidents on the road.
While all these efforts are integrated towards the government urban renewal program, analysts want the government to equally consider tree planting, bearing in mind the benefits to residents. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
It is no longer news that a lot of road traffic accidents reported in Nigeria occur at night. These are accidents that involve night traveling vehicles. Despite this and the obvious risk night traveling still enjoys, high patronage in the country. And this special report, Oyeyemi Ajayi, takes a look at why people still prefer night journeys to traveling by day.
Utsako Park, a major spot for travelers in the Federal Capital Territory, is busy for almost 24 hours due to movements in and out of the city. It's around 5 p.m., but the park seems to be at its peak as travelers arrive to purchase tickets for night trips. Anthony Enies, a footballer, is heading to Lagos. This is his first time of embarking on night travel.
To some of the passengers, like I met some this afternoon, they were saying that they prefer the night journey more than the day because it's more like free road. That's why I said, let me just try it.
Just like Anthony Enies, Emmanuel Chukwebuka, a teacher who needs to catch up an early morning appointment, says night travel is the only way he could not default in his appointment.
It's that comes with a lot of fear. Family and friends say don't go, and we know the state of the nation. So to tell you that I'm not afraid is not true, but I trust God for safety.
Do our minimal effort, ensure that passengers are safe, ensure that the crew, have the enough rest, ensure that the rolling stock, which is our boss, is, perfect, in perfect condition to travel.
These are many reasons people advance for choosing to travel at night. Many, however, have some reservations.
In the night, you cannot see what is ahead of you, which causes a lot of danger.
We used to hear that somewhere as we are going, they rob here. We see people stranded on the way shouting, they have just robbed us now, they have just trapped us now. So the only thing we can do is only to rescue people that we can rescue and keep going.
We always have major attack along Ife-Ilesha road. It's every day the attack at that road is very bad. Then the other one is Lokoja Okene Road.
The Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, has been campaigning against night journeys, citing rising cases of road traffic crashes and fatalities.
When you look at it holistically, driving in the night is not safe, especially in developing countries like ours, where in some instances you see that the road is not 100% okay, and where the roads are even okay, the speed that people tend to use will be higher.
Anthony Elias, Emmanuel Chukwuebuka and others have safely arrived their destinations, but then it could have been the other way round.
So I finally arrived at my destination after over 12 hours of journey. This is 12:28, and it was so because of the bad road, especially a lot of bad roads and checkpoints.
Night travels, experts insist, should only be done as a necessity, not as a choice. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Unfortunately, I'm so guilty of that. With the rising water tide as a result of intense rainfall comes the apprehension of possible boat mishaps. And the Niger boat accident, which claimed close to 100 lives in May this year, is amplifying calls for stringent enforcement on waterways. Michael Olale in this report x-rays efforts that could make safety a trademark on the nation's waterways.
Lagos without traffic can only be experienced during public holidays. Aside these special days, there are various frustrating experiences. Akim Balogun is a victim of such delays. Coming to the island from Ikorodu daily was a serious task owing to staying on the road for many hours, sweating inside public bus. Until 2 years ago, when water transportation came to the rescue.
The difference is there. What we only want that the government should put more effort on it to buy their own boat, surplus.
The idiomatic expression of one man's meat is another man's poison best described Jude Omoshehi. He will never trade distance and traffic for the super highways on the waters due to issues revolving around the integrity of the boats and even the drivers.
You see, life jacket is torn. It's torn already. So by the time the ferry sinks, one just capsizes, and you will take maybe the lifesaver is actually the one lifesaver, but actually the lifesaver is even the one drowning the person.
The passengers also have to always take caution because our lives are one, you know. Always talk to the driver and also have a hotline you can call.
Now, records from the Lagos State Waterways Authority, LASWA, shows that an average of 60 to 70,000 persons use the waterways daily, a shortfall considering the 20 million population of the metropolis.
We have what you call the water guards, whom you can see here, that they are the ones who ensure that, you know, there's no overloading on the boats. People are wearing their life jackets. Now, during this period, people are wearing their face masks.
In our current procurement, for example, we have identified that we have rock formations on our waterways around Yauri and Mina, Niger State. And we have now commenced the procurement process to do some level of rock blasting.
We have a task force in place now just to find out and see what is happening on our waterways. Wow. And so most illegal jetties are now being closed up.
There are 26 states connected by water in Nigeria, and Lagos, being a coastal community, is positioned to benefit massively once enforcement of safety measures take the center stage. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
And the end is in sight concerning the disagreement between the country and Twitter management. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says, though the technical committee set up concerning this disagreement has not sent its report, outcome of the engagements is showing that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Ironing out the grey areas is a matter of weeks, and this is according to the minister.
The end for an amicable solution is very much in sight. We quite appreciate the anxiety of Nigerians who have been worried that 2 months after the suspension, we have not been able to finalize talks. But I just want to assure you that we have made tremendous progress. And when I say tremendous, really tremendous. We've engaged Twitter, both in writing. We've engaged Twitter. We set up a technical committee to engage Twitter. They set up their own committee too. They have met virtually, and they've exchanged correspondence about 3 times. And really, apart from dotting the I's and crossing the T's, we are actually almost there.
In another development, the All Progressives Congress has inaugurated World's Appeals Committee for the party's just concluded World Congresses held across the country. The Governor Maimala Buni-led caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee says it will continue to uphold the party's rules in its rebuilding efforts. Salih Abdullahi Gonara reports.
The All Progressives Congress is expected to conduct 4 congresses from wards, local government, state, and the National Convention, having concluded the World Congresses as a first step. These committees are expected to perform an important post-World Congresses role of hearing all matters arising from the exercise. National Secretary of the Caretaker Committee, John James Akpan-Odoedehe, urged members of the committees to follow the party's rules in discharging their task.
This party is for all Nigerians. Therefore, we must show not only by words, but by concrete actions that there is no attempt to exclude or sideline anyone in the course of this exercise. This is very fundamental to the preservation of the very essence of the party. Your action in this wise will help engender cohesion, build trust and confidence in this all-important exercise.
In the words of the National Secretary, APC Caretaker Committee, John James Akpan-Odoedehe, no dispute is worth destroying the party, and urged aggrieved members of the party to take advantage of the World Congress's Appeals Committee, whose work will determine the date for the local government congresses. From the National Secretariat of the APC, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
We all admire the elegance and regal disposition of the eagle, and at the same time are in awe and fear of its deadliness and precision when it wants to strike or capture its prey. Now, which agency of government has appropriately adopted the eagle on its logo? Yes, you are right, it is the EFCC. This is an agency that is saddled with the responsibility of eradicating corruption in Nigeria. Dele Atumbi in this special report takes a look at how far the Commission has been zeroing in on the corrupt, as the eagle does on its prey.
Before the advent of Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in Nigeria, the economic management processes and institutions have been weakened. This led to the absence of transparency and accountability in both public and private sectors, with its attendant effects on the nation. This resulted in the inability of government to deliver services to the Nigeria public. The condonation of economic and financial crimes has led to capital flight, dilapidation of critical infrastructure, and medical tourism. Going by the negative effects of economic and financial crimes on the people, President Muhammadu Buhari made anti-corruption fight one of the cardinal programs of his administration.
so that we have a system, we have an institution that is above individual disposition and discretion. That is what we are working on internal front. And on external front, we are doing quite a number of things. Of course, you are aware that all the cases that we have in court are being prosecuted diligently. We are looking more now to the preventive aspect than the enforcement, because it is far more cheaper.
The trilogy function of enforcement, prevention and enlightenment of the people on the negative effects of corruption have been yielding the desired results in the last 6 years. Introduction of Treasury single account and bank verification number are some of the steps geared towards saving the country from the effects of corruption. The prosecution, conviction and sentencing of politically exposed persons are pointers to the seriousness of government in the fight on corruption.
And if you look at the issue of enforcement, a lot of investigations are ongoing, a lot of prosecutions are ongoing, some of which have taken quite a long time. We are now, concluding them in a way, some 12 years, some 13. And then when you look at the issue of asset recovery, hundreds of houses were recovered, valued at hundreds of millions of dollars, as well as billions of naira as well.
Experts described advocacy on the amendments of the Economic and Financial Crimes Law to make it up to speed with the modern realities in curbing corruption as a step in the right direction. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has refused to grant order of interim injunction sought by former Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) and Imo State government to stop them from further interfering and confiscating his property located in various parts of the country. The presiding judge, Justice Ahmed Ramat Mohammed, held that granting the order will not be in the interest of justice. Okorocha on Wednesday in Abuja asked the High Court to issue a restraining order against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in Imo State and to further interfere and confiscating of his property across the country. However, the motion for the interim order was opposed by EFCC and Imo State government on the ground that the court has no jurisdiction to hear Okorocha's suit. Meanwhile, justice came the way of the Ogoni people of Rivers State and the Federal High Court in Abuja, where a multinational oil company, Shell Petroleum Company, agreed to pay the sum of 45.9 billion naira to the people for the losses suffered during oil spills that ravaged their communities. The monetary compensation ordered by a federal high court 10 years ago will be paid to the Ogonis through their counsel. The oil company, through its counsel, Aham Ajalamo, announced the decision to pay up the money while addressing Justice Ahmed Ramat Mohammed of the Federal High Court in Abuja. The council sought order of Justice Mohammed to permit payment of the debt through the Chief Registrar of the court in a bank account to be opened for the purpose. Final decision to pay up the money was endorsed by Justice Ahmed Ramat Mohammed of the High Court in Abuja. The amount was awarded in favor of Ogoni people by Justice Ibrahim Buba of the Lagos Division of the Federal High Court on June 14, 2010. Coming ahead on News Extra, food as an integral means of human survival. It is a mixed grill of more food for more school children, while elsewhere in IDP's camp, it's a tale of worrisome scarcity that has attracted a helping hand. We bring you details of this and how COVID-19 has refined the education calendar in a way that cannot be described as pleasant. That will be right after we return from this first break.
Are you ready for this?
Let me hear you, AJ. Give me some bass. Just one ball. 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 Bring it out. Just one ball. Just one ball. Double it. Just one ball. Just one ball.
I was born hungry for success.
It's the Nigerian way. Glow gets it. Champions stay hungry. Oh yeah. Glow gets it big time.
Hit the big time with 22 times bonus on every recharge. Dial *777#. It's a knockout.
I dey look for pension fund administrator. Way soft, make sense, we care for me. Shy. No be the time when story go enter the matter when it's time to deliver. No. The brand is sure them no go stress you. Call them, then they accessible. Yes, customer care where they on point. You no go regret when you try, of course. Profitable investments, everything is just a blend. If you know what's good for you, my guy, make you choose premium pension today. Make that switch to premium pension. Premium pension. Make that switch to premium pension.
Join over 700,000 satisfied members and enjoy the premium experience at our offices across the 36 states in Nigeria, including the FCT. Call 094615-700-704 to make the switch today. Premium pension. Active today, premium tomorrow.
I've got no ice on me, but stick a freeze your knees. What up?
Unleash your cool side with Mentos Fresh Action Candy and its incredible soothing liquid filling. Get on stage now.
I be the cool guy that you want, fresh guy that you want. Mentos Fresh Action Candy. Get cool, stay fresh with the Mentos Fresh Action Candy.
Mentos Fresh Action Candy. Get cool, feel fresh. Now with vitamin C.
Take this, Mom. You will need it.
My tongue is craving something.
Twisco chocolate drink powder is a unique blend of cocoa, milk, and malt fortified with Enofort, a special blend of vitamins and minerals that helps give kids the vitality they need for an action-packed day.
Mommy, let me go.
Twisco, power your dream.
Beat sensitivity pain fast with Sensodyne Rapid Action Toothpaste. Sensodyne Rapid Action Toothpaste. Available in a big 100-gram tube and a small 25-gram tube.
I'm the Chief Resident Engineer and Project Supervisor of the Second Niger Bridge Project. The Second Niger Bridge Project is a project that has been conceived for a very long time, but it has finally come to life during this present administration. This project has a lot of socio-economic benefits, and it has impacted positively on the lives of the host communities, both in Anambra State and Delta State. The people are very happy. The host communities, they partnered with us because apart from the social benefits, indigenes are also employed on this project. We can see how their lives are being improved.
This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
The Blues will look to start the new season with a victory against former rival Patrick Vieira as he leads his London side, Crystal Palace, to Stamford Bridge. This Saturday, it's Chelsea versus Crystal Palace on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 2:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Baba Ijebu and powered by Integral.
Welcome back to News Extra. Nigeria's sustainable progress in achieving diversification agenda on the economy is making far-reaching impact through agriculture, with the National Agricultural Lands Development Authority as a critical driver for realizing food sufficiency and national stability. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that this came to the fore during NTA's Tuesday Live program.
More than 30,000 Nigerians are steadily gaining access into thousands of land hectares under an integrated farm estate nationwide to explore agricultural potentials. Stakeholders are optimistic that the huge investment in National Agricultural Lands Development Authority will stabilize diversification drive and improve self and national incomes.
What NADA stands for
those forests, those land that has been abandoned and are being used as kidnappers' den, to turn it into productive environment. And that is what we are doing.
The initiative to resuscitate NALDA is a very timely one. The intervention of the CBN is very, very good, is impacting on the food system.
The Federal Minister of Agriculture a few months ago signed an agreement, a $1.1 billion equipment deal with Brazil.
Exploration of land resources and prevention of disasters to realize massive production of agricultural harvest will enhance value chain and national security.
Now, yes, the issue of release of water on the River Niger side, we're a little bit safe because we have Kainji and Jeba dams.
Okay.
But on River Benue, if Cameroon should release water from Lagdo Dam in Cameroon, there's nothing to checkmate it or to hold it.
30 billion has been approved by Mr. President to support over 300,000 farmers and those in the livestock sector who have lost crops or animal husbandry in the last flooding season.
As stakeholders increase capacity response in ensuring Nigerians produce what they eat and eat what they produce, key players are certain that efforts are gradually justifying outcome of the investment. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Unarguably, food stands first among the basic necessities of life, and a circumstance where it is lacking calls for concern. This is the situation at the internally displaced persons camp in Kuta, Shiroro local government area of Niger State, having run out of foodstuff in the last 2 months. Most of them now scavenge for food to survive. There is, however, a ray of hope as a non-governmental organization under the auspices of Victim Support Fund donated farm inputs to 350 households at the camp to aid food production. Mukhtar Abubakar Wowo is standing by to tell us all about it.
The internally displaced persons left their communities and sought refuge in Kuta Central Primary School for close to 2 years now. They depend on government agencies, corporate bodies, and well-meaning individuals for survival. Though lots have been done for this group of vulnerable people, but most of them engage in menial jobs in their host community or scavenge for food at the market to feed themselves.
Our major challenges are lack of food and medical care. Our ugly condition is caused by bandits. Governments should please help send them away from our communities and resettle us.
My little child at times used to go market where they are selling food. They used to pick from ground, pack with the sun. The mothers will come home and pick it and separate the food items, then we manage it.
The governor make it specifically that the state cannot all alone do it. We need kind-hearted individuals to come in. And that is why today we are even here with the Victim Support Fund.
The donation of farm inputs by Victims Support Fund to the IDPs have been described as a prayer answered.
We saw IDPs that were living in major food scarcity. We are giving them NPK and urea fertilizer. It is soluble, so we are giving them 1 pack is equivalent to a bag of fertilizer that is powdered. So we are giving them 5. We are giving them 3 NPK and 2 urea. And then we are giving each one of them the knapsack sprayer.
The Victims Support Fund is targeting 700 farm households in Niger State, as 350 similar gestures are said to be delivered to some IDPs at the Kagara camp in Rafi local government area of Niger State. Mukhtar Abubakar, NTA News.
Thank you, Mukhtar. It is an established fact that techniques of learning can impact on how students understand. While different systems have been tested by institutions, experts are of the opinion that the use of virtual learning is one that should not be ignored. Abdul Malik Hassan here looks at the capacity of Nigerian universities to impact knowledge using virtual platforms.
Education is believed to be a phenomenal key to development and has evolved with civilization from time to time. Virtual learning has become an integral part of learning, especially with the COVID-19 holding the world to a standstill. In Nigeria, it became an issue as only a few tertiary institutions are said to have the capacity to deploy such.
If you introduce e-learning, we don't want a situation where some students will have access because their parents are affluent and comfortable, and children of the poor will be cut off. That is one reason why we are not in a hurry to say, let us do 100% online education in Nigeria.
A typical example is University of Lagos, which during the COVID-19 lockdown held lectures virtually, and this postgraduate student, Tohibat Ajose, shares her experience.
The university created two platforms for us, the Zoom and LMS. LMS means Learning Management System. It's a portal, a portal online. But the Zoom is majorly for lectures. Some students are still finding it difficult to use the LMS portal.
This experience is not limited to Tohibat. Students from other institutions also have stories to tell.
When materials are being given out and we've read and we do not understand, and we are asked to connect to the Zoom app for our classes, the explanations given helps us understand better.
Already, the National Universities Commission, as a watchdog, is rising to provide the needed capacity to boost virtual learning in Nigerian universities.
We are working assiduously to build capacity of the academic staff themselves, improve on ICT infrastructure, and find a way to incentivize the migration of the academics from the analog to the digital space.
And with these methods about to be in play by the NUC, one may say a simplified learning process for Nigerians is underway. In Abuja, Abdul Malik Hassan, NTA News.
Let's head to Lagos now, where the state government has launched Africa's largest digital classroom, which has the capacity to make education accessible to more than 10 million youths, especially the indigent ones, across the Lagos metropolis. Musa Toliat reports that the online education initiative is known as ecodigitalschool.com.
Described as a classroom without borders, ecodigitalschool.com is based on cloud architecture and has capacity to offer endless possibilities. These include provisions for digital report card, adult literacy and education, online classes for subjects in junior and senior secondary school curricula, as well as developmental courses for teachers.
We have all the subjects from JSS1 to JSS3 digitized already on the platform. So where you are seeing is the student selection area. But the beauty of this is that going forward, in partnership with TESCOM and in partnership with the ministry, we'll get A-star teachers to build top-rated content.
One of the major focus of the online education initiative is to gradually eliminate close contacts in physical classrooms with a view to ensuring the safety of students as the Delta variant of the COVID-19 pandemic continues to ravage the world.
Beyond the fact that there is knowledge, which is important, it's going to also build and integrate what you call 21st century skills. So this kind of system deliberately integrates it, and therefore unintentionally the students are learning 21st century skills.
Efforts are being intensified to upload the junior and senior secondary schools in the 6 educational districts of the state on the online platform. ecodigital.com also makes provision for recruitment of teachers and enrollment of students into schools across the state. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
The advent of COVID-19 no doubt has greatly impacted on the general way of life of the global community. Education calendar has fared no better, with adjustments and reviews becoming the order of the day as administrators and policymakers make amendments to make for lost time in schools. Nasarawa State is also in this mix as its schools are in the race to meet with calendars of other states. Charity Ashurki, I beg your pardon, is standing by to tell us more.
So as you can see on the board there,
the race is on, as all stakeholders are striving to do the needful to ensure that the education system in the state is not left behind.
The scheme of work, we try to just meet up. If not, it is not really enough. If we are using the whole term, it shouldn't be just 2 months.
For the administrators and policy makers, it is a necessary step that has to be taken in line with the new normal brought by COVID-19.
We try to make up for the time lost. We are all aware that the schools lost almost 6 months. That is equivalent to about 2 terms. So we had to make up for that. And in trying to do that, we looked at the holidays that our students would normally enjoy, and we tried to reduce the holidays.
However, as the situation persists, parents express concern over the burden that the unusual education calendar has brought on the average family in the face of difficult global economic challenges.
You pay school fees, you are relieved of this time. In another 1 week, you will still start thinking of paying another school fees again.
Honestly, it's very, very hectic. I don't know how to even how to even pay the fees by September even, because as of this summer, I couldn't finish even paying all.
Aware of these challenges, the federal government has a matter of policy to cushion the effects put in place, various forms of palliatives for business and households to benefit. In Lafia, Charity Ashki, NTA News.
Catching them young and equipping them with lifetime skills is an approach that is seen as key to making citizens economically empowered. Elizabeth Omori, who visited the National Center for Women Development, reports that skills development is taking a new dimension, with children embracing vocational skills during school breaks.
This is Jessie and is one of the children that came into the center for the summer classes. But fortunately, they have decided to join the confectionery class.
This class helps me build cooking skills and can help me in the future, because you can use cooking as a business, you can sell products and even make a restaurant to earn money.
That is how enthusiastic Jesse is to learn a vocation that he might fall on for life. And so many others are here as well. The holiday camp programs expose the children to social and physical skills to develop, build resilience and confidence to face social challenges as they grow to become adults. Sumaya is an undergraduate from the Estam University, Benin Republic, studying international relations. She believes bridging financial gaps would be more effective when the youth are independent and financially responsible.
People need to learn handworks to get future purposes. That's why I came.
I've learned how to create a website.
The holiday program, in partnership with Transformation Parenting Academy, focuses on leadership, ICT, mentorship, confectionery, housekeeping, among other vocations.
We have lost those good values in that African value in us. We have lost it. So it's good that we are bringing back our lost values so that it will help these children. These are skills that when they learn, it will continue to be in them. It will help them in their homes. It will help them in their personal lives.
Before they order for their salad snacks, now the children can do it at home.
If you're not available to do it at home, bring them to us. And it has offered the likes of Jesse, who wants to be a chef, realize his dreams with ease. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
And a very, very interesting one, I must say. The committee set up by the federal government to resolve the dispute between the Kaduna state government and the Nigerian Labour Congress has submitted its report with recommendation that those dismissed for participating in the industrial action be reinstated and paid full benefits. Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, says government will study the document with a view to ensuring that there is industrial peace between all parties. Joseph Austin reports.
The possibility of the dispute between the Kaduna state government and the Nigerian Labour Congress over alleged sacking of 40,000 staff of the state government to get out of hand and spill across the country prompted the federal government to immediately wade in. Through the Ministry of Labour and Employment, the federal government set up a committee made up of representatives of the federal and state governments and the Nigerian Labour Congress. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Dr. Peter Tafa, who headed the committee, says review of the process that led to the crisis, retirement age and misplacements of staff, as well as victimization were looked into, among others.
Disengaged staff of the local government councils, the State Basic Education Board, the Primary Health Care Board, and all those not paid should be paid their appropriate benefits.
Minister of Labour and Employment Dr. Chris Ngege says government could not allow the dispute drag for long given the strategic position of Kaduna State and the plight of the affected persons.
If you go to a hospital and see somebody who is posing as a nurse and his certification is not that of a nurse, you should go. If there are people who have disciplinary matters on their head and they have been found guilty, maybe for fraud, misappropriation of government funds, you have a right.
A large number of people have been called back based on certain criteria, and so it's not question to get them back. Some of them have probably been asked to come back based on certain criteria, which I think is in the report.
The minister called on the Kaduna State government to engage some of the persons likely to lose their jobs in skills acquisitions to be productive and self-reliant. In Abuja, Joseph Utsen, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Association of Retired Career Ambassadors of Nigeria, ARCAN, condemns in the strongest term the unprovoked attack by Indonesian immigration officials on a Nigerian diplomatic agent. The association insists that the attack was not only unprovoked and unwarranted, but it was also a glaring abuse of established convention and international norms and conduct as enshrined in the Vienna Convention 1961 on diplomatic relations. ACAN notes with appreciation and support the interim steps so far taken by the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry by summoning the Indonesian ambassador to Nigeria to protest the action of the unruly Indonesian immigration officials and recalling for consultation the ambassador of Nigeria to Indonesia. It nevertheless recommends further actions to be taken following the conclusion of the investigation the government intends to carry out. ARCAN notes that the actions of the Indonesian officials represent a modern-day display of gangsterism and inhuman behavior towards a fellow human being, even if he was not a diplomatic agent, and must therefore be met with robust response from the federal government of Nigeria through the application of measures that may include a complete reassessment of Nigeria's diplomatic relations with Indonesia. ARCAN rejects the statement credited to the head of the regional office of the Ministry of Law and Human Rights of Indonesia, which it says is an obvious attempt to cover up the barbaric action of the immigration officials. Nigeria's quest for sufficient power supply is on the upswing mode, with attention tilting to nuclear energy. The question is, how prepared is the country? Plus, it's kudos to the current administration at the mention of a very critical sector. I leave you to guess as we take another breather.
I need help, so please go to the market and get me everything I need to cook this food. Get my pepper and get my onions. I'm waiting. Do you know how to buy pepper? Do you know how to buy dashi? You wouldn't even let my mother come and stay. I need help. Do you know how stressful it is taking care of these 3 kids? Are you still there? If you're not getting me fresh meat, do you understand?
Okay, I'm at the
Can
meat.
you switch to video call, please? Okay, give me that one. The one by your side. Okay, fine. Babe,
Where do I buy all these things now? Hey, go get Glow Berekete and call madam.
The heavyweight voice and data plan. Get 600 Naira free credit plus 700% bonus on every recharge and up to 100% bonus on data plans.
ATF, developing the nation's human resource.
We are StarTimes, the most affordable digital pay TV platform with the widest signal coverage in Nigeria, dedicated to bringing the best TV entertainment around the world to your screen. From Hollywood to Bollywood to Nollywood, we offer the most affordable subscription. Enjoy over 75 channels for as low as 1,700 naira, like Nat Geo Wild, BBC, ESPN, and premium sports like Emirates FA Cup, La Liga, Bundesliga, wrestling. What's more exciting? We have the most flexible payment options in Nigeria. Don't dull. Join us now for an exciting journey. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
The Blues will look to start the new season with a victory against former rival Patrick Vieira as he leads his London side, Crystal Palace, to Stamford Bridge. This Saturday, it's Chelsea versus Crystal Palace on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 2:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Baba Ijebu and powered by Integral.
Thanks for staying tuned. Security and Exchange Commission gets Africa Development Bank's grant for risk-based supervision project as investors gain 141.6 billion naira at the close of trading in equities market. Musa Abubakar has more details on business news. Musa.
Thank you, Fatima. The Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) has received financing from the African Development Bank towards the cost of regulatory capacity improvements under the risk-based supervision framework and capacity building project. The grant from the AFDB Group administered Capital Markets Development Trust Fund is to finance the risk-based supervision framework implementation and capacity development project. According to SEC, the principal objectives of the project are to provide technical assistance and capacity building on selected areas of the Commission's operations, support implementation of risk-based supervision framework, improve the securities markets regulatory environment, and broadening of market instruments that will help deepen the capital markets in Nigeria and strengthen the Commission's supervisory tools as well as its capacity to achieve its mandate of investor protection and minimizing systemic risk. Now, African Export-Import Bank, Afreximbank, has announced funding and technical support to the Youth Alliance for Leadership and Development in Africa, YELDA, an international non-profit organization that aims to contribute to the development of Africa's young leaders and enhance youth participation in the implementation and achievement of the African Continental Free Trade Area. The support will cover YELDA's activities and events, which aim to provide a platform for African youth, both within Africa and in the diaspora. These activities encourage them to participate in the implementation of the AFCFTA under a campaign named Umoja Africa Campaign, youth contributing to the implementation of the AFCFTA. And now to equities. Nigerian stock market closed trading on a positive note. The all-share index appreciated 0.69% to close at 39,448.46 basis points and market capitalization at 20.5 trillion naira. 181.4 million shares value at 2.08 billion naira were traded in 3,599 deals. Transcorp, Ecobank Transnational Incorporated, and FCMB top activity chart. Well, that's business news. Back to you, Fatima.
Thank you so much, Musa. Water, they say, is life. It is necessary in every facet of existence. So if water is practically life, any government providing water is providing life. That is why the APC Legacy Group is happy with the water development achievement under Buhari's administration, according to the group. The administration has continued to demonstrate unprecedented commitment to the renewal and expansion of the country's infrastructure stock across all vital areas of the economy. Salih Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
The group's national coordinators, Salih Mohammed Lukman, Director General APC Governors Forum, and Ismail Ahmed, National Youth Leader APC Caretaker Committee, in a statement said since 2016, 12 dams have been completed by the Buhari administration spread across 11 states, including Kashimbila Multipurpose Dam in Taraba State, Ogwashiuku Multipurpose Dam in Delta State, Adada Dam in Enugu, Sulman F Dam, Katsina, Gimi F Dam, Kaduna, Amla Otupo Dam, Benue, Amauzari F Dam, Imo, Ibiono Ibom F Dam, Akwa Ibom, Gadao Lafia Zigao Dam, Bauchi, Alajue Small F Dam, Oshun, rehabilitated Kampe Omi Dam and Cargo Dam in Kogi and Kaduna State. This is in addition to 8 dam projects, 8 hydropower projects, 16 irrigation projects, and 11 water supply projects scheduled for completion by 2023. The APC Legacy Awareness Group agreed that the positive effects of these investments, which are starting to be seen and felt across the country, will continue to increase in intensity, lay foundation for new jobs, for the revival of local communities to boost agriculture and support industrialization for lasting growth and economic development. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
And from water, let's talk about power. Data from the ECOWAS Commission indicates that West Africa has a combined pool of 25,000 megawatts of hydropower potential. Yet, only 52% of its people have access to power. At the localized meeting of a joint committee in Cote d'Ivoire, ECOWAS Parliament is engaging stakeholders on how to translate the region's energy potentials into power. Onenge Fineface reports.
An estimated 400 million inhabitants, comprising more than 60% of the population of West Africa, are said to lack access to power. This is in spite of the fact that the region is blessed with 5,200 billion metric tons of natural gas reserves, 17 billion tons of oil reserves, and a wide range of clean energy sources like hydro, biomass, solar, geothermal, and wind. The joint committee meeting in Cote d'Ivoire is to consider how these resources can translate to improved energy security for citizens and economic activities in the region.
Let us consider the situation of our farmers, for example, who are making efforts to mechanize their farms, but are confronted with exorbitant costs of energy to run their means of production. Or the situation of our young artisans who cannot use their tools because of frequent power outages in their districts, thus stifling their creativity.
The meeting also considers resolving the challenges of poor governance, uneven distribution of power, and non-implementation of regional energy protocols. Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
Realizing the need to diversify its energy mix for sufficient power supply, Nigeria is committed to adopting nuclear energy as an alternative source of power with a policy framework set up for implementation. Joshua Jito in this report takes a look at the level of preparedness for the construction of a nuclear power plant in the country and Nigeria's prospects for nuclear energy.
Nuclear energy, another renewable source of electricity generation, is gradually gaining global acceptability to bridge the energy gap.
Nuclear energy is not only peaceful, it's not only clean, but it's also a viable option of energy.
Nigeria, in exploring its potential to generate electricity through nuclear energy, conceived a policy in 1976, which led to the establishment of the Nigeria Atomic Energy Commission, the government agency mandated to drive its implementation. So far, investigations indicate surveys have been completed in Geregu, Kogi State, and Itu in Akwa Ibom State for the construction of nuclear power plants.
There are milestones the National Atomic Energy has created for each country to achieve before you get into this. We have gone into the milestone 1 and now we are moving into the milestone 2.
Nigeria also signed memoranda of understanding with Russia and China for the projects. However, the implementation plan, key players say, seems slow.
So I was also trying to see how we can also benefit from another cheap source of power. I presented a bill to the Senate for the government to take a look at nuclear power so that we can have another option for power generation.
Despite concerns of safety, while Nigeria strives to join the League of Industrialized Nations, adequate and reliable power supply is key, and the time for the country to adopt nuclear energy for sustainable power supply, energy experts advise, is now. In Abuja, Joshua Ojitu, NTA News.
Africa, my Africa. Africa of proud warriors in ancestral savannas. That is from a David Diop's poem that inspires the proud spirit of African nationalism when and where it is read. Now, on the Cape Coast of Ghana stands a structure to remind us all of the Africa we are coming from. For Onenge Fineface, what was intended to be a pleasurable sightseeing became an inspiration to reflect on the painful history of slavery in Africa. From the White Castle of Black history in Cape Coast, Ghana, he brings us a past that is also a present opportunity for future prosperity.
The Atlantic roars in constant tremor on the shores of Cape Coast, Ghana, one curious meeting place for sea and land. Above the shoreline stands the towering height of the Cape Coast Castle, a reminder of the bitter years of slavery on the continent.
Church services, slaves underneath.
Robert Morgan Mensah, tour guide at the castle, tells me that the depth of history buried in this castle, even through imagination, can break any human heart. It is both a fortress and a broken hope. Fortress for the colonialists, broken hope for the thousands of African slaves who went through it, never again to see their homes.
Having finished the slave trade, the Europeans have gone after slave trade was over, they had colonized us. We need to maintain our heritage. This is why we brought it back to its original location, to educate every one of us here that before the coming of the Europeans, there was African traditional temple.
Plays back to me to get an understanding where we started from and where we are going as Africa.
Investigation shows that Cape Coast Castle isn't just a collection of past pains. It is in fact an exemplar of economic opportunities in African history.
I think what we need to do is to invest more in tourism so that we can generate more traffic and so bring in more foreign investment and more resources into our various countries in the West African sub-region.
The scenery is beautiful as it is excruciating. Nestled on the Atlantic, Cape Coast Castle from the years of slavery in Ghana to these days of reflections overlooks the ocean to which it has considered many African dreams. And the sea? It roars in constant tremor on the shores of Cape Coast, Ghana. Onenge Fineface, NTA News.
Thanks so much, Onenge, for that. Hang in there for our next segment for an enlightenment on the burden of heart-related diseases and reasons why you should have to take responsibility for the care of this critical organ of the body. Join us again.
Was the best decision James has ever made. See, finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly. Until one day, James discovered something big. He can finally say, our home, our football.
Get GoTV plus 1 month max subscription for only 6,900 naira. You self fit enjoy your Bunga football leagues where day, plus better cup competitions this football season. GoTV, love it.
What makes Trophy Stout truly extra special? Smoothness that caresses your palate. It's the rich blend of all this and more that makes this probably the world's finest stout.
Looks like you found extra special.
Trophy extra special stout. For extra special richness. Not for persons below 18. Drink responsibly.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth entrepreneurship support years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
The center is purposely established in order to provide these services that are examinations, medical examinations and investigations that were not provided for in Kano as well as the entire Northwest region. It's equipped with modern technological equipment in terms of radiological services. We have MRI 1.5 Tesla. We have digital X-ray as well as 4D ultrasound equipment. The importance of the center cannot be overemphasized. Just within 1 year, the center attended to thousands and numerous patients as well as medical examinations. NKDC is established in order also to provide these healthcare facilities as a discounted price.
This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Great to have you back. Volunteers from across the world have interacted with custodians and locals at the Sukur World Heritage Site in Madagali local government area of Adamawa State. This, the International Documentary Festivals Foundation consider as a prompt move to restore the site impacted by the Boko Haram insurgency. Abdullahi Mohammed reports.
Conquer the earths and the land of beauty opens its trinket of wonders. At the base of the Mandra Mountains, a rousy welcome. The hiking up the mountain, with each step telling a tip of the story of a people that have preserved their heritage enduring the last 600 years. And behold, the palace of the Hidi, the royal father of the people of the kingdom of Sukur. Here, their ancestors have left an indelible mark in the book of history. Unfortunately, the area came under attack by the Boko Haram insurgency. The Boko Haram insurgency has no doubt impacted negatively on the lives of the people of Sukur, as well as their heritage, which has been standing here for more than 600 years. But in terms of recovery and restoration of this heritage, they are not left alone. The International Documentary and Festival Foundation stepped up the mountain with the hands of volunteers.
Primarily, our mission is to see how we can project and also protect the World Heritage Site.
I'm planning to do a community survey, talking with 3 groups, maybe the men, maybe the women.
Look at what is in Sukur and what actually we can do to restore this, also to bring back the glory.
Some of the hands that made the kingdom prominent in iron smelting in the 16th and 17th century still keep the fire burning through their descendants. A tedious hiking up the mountain about 1,900 meters above sea level. Wonderful discoveries and a lot of memories to be kept for life. I have been to Sukur. What about you? From Sukur, Madagali local government area of Adamawa State, Abdullah Mohammed, NTA News.
I promise you, Abdullahi, my next break is going to be in Sukur. Now, some of the greatest nations in the world are multiracial, multi-ethnic and multi-religious, and united people working together are more likely to be economically successful. Vice President Osinbajo stated this during a courtesy visit to the presidential villa by a delegation from the Arewa Concerned People for National Unity and Religious Tolerance from Kano, led by Awal Maidabino and Usman Ado Bayero. The vice president told the delegation that it is the duty of the leadership, not just political leadership, but also the leadership of social groups and organizations, to ensure that the people are focused on these issues of unity and tolerance. Vice President Osinbajo said he believed very strongly that the greatness of nations have always been on account of leaders who thought it fit to build those nations on the basis of unity and tolerance. The delegation informed the vice president of plans by the group to convene a national forum on unity as part of its contributions to entrenching peaceful coexistence and unity among Nigerians. Now, if you're searching for one of the most pleasant vocabularies resonating with tribes and communities in southern Kaduna now is its peaceful coexistence, and rightly so. It shows the desire to address prevailing challenges and promote greater understanding, dialogue and commitment to work for the common good. I know we are all too familiar with the security challenges in that axis, but it appears there is a new narrative from Kafanchan, and Hamza Musa Makarfi will be filling us in. Hamza.
Richly endowed and diverse with very long-standing relationships describe what is southern Kaduna as geographical and socio-cultural entity. As you meet the people while talking about the challenges, they are united on the way to progress, just like in other parts of Nigeria.
They should involve women in all whatever they are doing in the country. I think we will have peace.
It's not impossible to get peace. It's not impossible.
All we do and say is prayers, because we want peace in our land.
It is when we all agree without pretense that we want to live together.
All you need to do, look into yesteryear's pages of how did it happen before. If it happened before we came, why has it changed now?
Peace, they say, is not the absence of disagreements, but when lives are lost, sources of livelihood destroyed, and social activities curtailed, as well as other security problems persist, damping the spirit of living together.
We must love one another. We must dispel the issue of rumor mongering. We should stop profiling other tribes.
Everybody needs peace. Whether we like it or not, we need peace. Once there is no peace, people will be living in fear. People will be living in, kind of wild living. So peace is very, very important.
The way forward is that we must sit down and address the issue properly so that nobody is hiding under any umbrella to go and orchestrate anything that will bring about loss of life. Because everybody is tired.
The ambience of typical market days give opportunity for wide-ranging interaction, this one on peace promotion. While the people continue building consensus on their role towards achieving peace, government and partners express commitment on doing the needful for peace, progress and stability of southern Kaduna and entire state. From Kapanchan, Hamza Musa Makaripi, NTA News.
In view of the emerging security challenges in Gombe State, Governor Muhammad Inua is requesting the upscaling of military operations in the state. He made the appeal when he called on the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabo, at the Defense Headquarters, Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
Gombe State, with more than 18,000 square kilometer landmass, is a strategic gateway to other states in the northeast, faced with decade-long insurgency. Following recent intensified counter-insurgency operations in some states of the region, criminals are seeking refuge in Gombe State. This, the governor said, aside exerting pressure on scarce services and social amenities in the state. The exodus of criminals to the area is worrisome to him and his people.
we are beginning to see the effects, of those people that are coming to settle who have not been profiled and who we cannot guarantee their conduct. And that's why we need to see that we do the correct thing, we put up a proper safeguard so that we don't allow, these effects, the negative effects of insurgency to come and infiltrate and get settlement in Gombe. We've opened a window of discussion and we shall continue to engage. I believe it will be for the betterment of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
This is the second time Governor Muhammadu Inuwa is visiting the defense headquarters to deliberate on issues bordering on security in Gombe State. From the defense headquarters in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Worried by upsurge in the circulation of fake and adulterated drugs and consumables, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has embarked on a nationwide campaign. Dalhat Abdullahi reports that the campaign is aimed at sensitizing Nigerians on dangers of drug abuse and penalties that await abusers and peddlers of fake drugs.
In recent times, drug abuse and circulation of fake drugs, as well as adulterated consumables, have become a source of concern in Nigeria. These unfortunate practices and abuse of drug informed the decision of NAFDAC to organize this stakeholders forum, where security agencies, religious bodies were sensitized on the dangers of drug abuse to national development in the COVID-19 era.
The laws are there, and therefore violations will be meted with stiff penalties as stipulated by the law.
Stakeholders at the forum lamented the increase in drug abuse in Nigeria, urging governments at all levels to do the needful toward curbing the ugly trend.
So there's need to heavy, stronger enforcement. Whosoever found wanting, he must be dealt. The law should be take action.
The expectation is behavioral change. It affects all of us, and many people who are innocent can be victims of these nefarious activities.
The campaign continued on major streets in Sukur metropolis. The sensitization also cautioned members of the public against the use of paracetamol in hastening the cooking of meat, as well as use of insecticides as preservatives. In Sukur, Dalhat Abdullahi, NTA News.
So far, so good. As we begin to wind down, let's take our final break and then bring you sports in just a moment.
So we have on today's edition of the Trophy Live Trivia. But before I go, I just want to say this. Keep your energy up. Don't be so hard on yourself. You dey walk now, guy. You dey also go. You deserve a trophy with your fellow honorables. Anything you do that gives you the kick is worth recognition. Just look at yourself in the mirror and say, wow, now honorable I be you. And even when we are feeling so stressed up, we can ginger each other up and share some good bottles of Trophy Lager. Because anyhow we be, when honorables gather, we share, we dream, and we win together. My name is still Fowles, aka Fowles the bad guy. Honorable was Bayi.
The Blues will look to start the new season with a victory against former rival Patrick Vieira as he leads his London side, Crystal Palace, to Stamford Bridge. This Saturday, it's Chelsea versus Crystal Palace on the Premier League Live, showing on the network service of the NTA from 2:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Baba Ijebu and powered by Integral.
Let's talk sports. 2021-2022 English Premier League season kicks off Friday. Ayodeji Makinde has a preview.
Champions Manchester City face yet another test to defend their title despite a quiet but significant move in the transfer market, which has seen them secure the services of Jack Grealish for a British record fee of £100 million from Aston Villa as Pep Guardiola's men push for Champions League glory. Neighbours Manchester United aim to close the gap and mount a title challenge with the acquisition of Jadon Sancho and Rafael Varane. The Red Devils are without a league title since Sir Alex Ferguson retired as manager in 2013, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will fancy his chances after signing a 3-year contract recently to remain in the dugout. Chelsea hope to reignite the form which saw them win the UEFA Champions League last season with a squad depth which is bolstered with the imminent arrival of Romelu Lukaku for the Blues. Arsenal have made significant moves in the transfer market, signing Ben White from Brighton. The Gunners have no distraction of European football and can begin their quest for silverware against newly promoted Brentford after a disappointing campaign last season. Meanwhile, Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool still have the trio of Mo Salah, Sadio Mane and Roberto Firmino in attack. Captain Virgil van Dijk has regained full fitness since recovering from an Achilles injury which ended his 2020-2021 season early. Tottenham bid to hold on to talisman Harry Kane after the appointment of Nuno Espirito from Wolves with a UEFA Conference League as their consolation for a 7th-placed finish last May. Similarly, Nigeria's Alex Iwobi under new Everton manager Rafael Benitez is optimistic of rejuvenation, with the Spaniard set to make the Toffees a top side once again in the Premier League. Super Eagles duo of Ogene Karo Etebo and William Trust Ekong are expected to feature regularly for Watford after regaining promotion to the top flight alongside Brentford and Swansea City. Europa League campaigners Leicester City have Kelechi Iheanacho and Wilfred Ndidi, who are fresh from lifting the FA Community Shield at the expense of Manchester City and could be dark horses in the title challenge with Champions League football targets for next season. The NTA will continue its weekend telecast of matches beginning with Chelsea versus Crystal Palace on Saturday in the London Derby, which will be live at 2:30 p.m. It's another race for 38 weeks and fingers are crossed for the emergence of a champion come May 2022. In Abuja, Ayodeji, Makinde, NTA News.
From sports update to the weather outlook for Thursday.
Glad to have you with us. If you're going out on Thursday, you may want to keep an umbrella handy as there are prospects of rainfalls in the morning over the coastal areas reaching to the central region and the north, with higher intensities to the northeast, the central and parts of the southeastern coast. Steady moisture influx should keep these rains sustained into the afternoon, where we expect higher intensities to Bayelsa, Edo Delta, Ondo, and parts of Lagos. The central region and the north, with high intensities to parts of Kano, Katsina, and to the extreme far northwestern states. At the end of Thursday, we expect ample rainfall amounts over parts of Bauchi, northern Taraba, parts of Nasarawa, the Federal Capital Territory, southern Kaduna, Niger, the southern part of Kebbi. If you stay in any of these areas, you may want to take care because there may be cases of flash flooding in 1 or 2 areas.
With the weather report, we conclude News Extra for tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of it. But before we go, remember to be a star, connect with the NTA, and stand against rape and rapists. I am Fatima Umar Buba. Please stay safe.